I'll be doing rear brakes on a 2014 Toyota Prius. This is the factory part number. Make sure you chock your front wheels and use a jack once you raise the vehicle up. If you don't have any power tools, I suggest you break the wheels loose before you raise the vehicle. If not, use the air gun or power tool. Alright, lug nuts were 21 millimeters. Next step is to break these caliper bolts loose. These are 14 millimeters. Since we're going to lube these up anyways, I'm going to go ahead and separate them from the actual bracket. So again, 14 millimeters, caliper themselves, and as well as the bracket. Alright, once you loosen the caliper bolts, you can go ahead and just slide them off. You go ahead and set that aside, make sure it's not hanging by the brake hoses. And be careful with the sensors there. Looks like the retaining springs are broken off. I'm going to release those. Remove the pad. As you can see, there's still about, say 1 to 2 millimeters left. I think the brand new ones are definitely like 6 or 7. Don't quote me on that. I'll definitely measure it later. Power tools, air tools, definitely beneficial. This ratchet wrench is definitely helpful as well. Just make sure you break it loose before you actually use the mechanism. Alright, once you remove the caliper bracket bolts, you'll be able to slide that off. I'm not going to replace the rotor on here, and I'll show you. The car has about 80,000 miles on it. You see there's no grooves. I'll go ahead and take my micrometer and measure it. There are some measurements on here. It says minimum thickness. I'm not sure if you can read that. 0.7 millimeters. And I'll definitely grab my micrometer here to show you if they're still good or not. Alright, typically you want to resurface these or replace them. Again, 7.5 millimeters is the specs. This is a little bit rusted out. A couple of options. You can grab some bolts and run through those holes there and slowly press them out. I'm not even going to take a hammer to it to try to take it off. But you want to get your micrometer, zero it out, and then basically measure the thickness of the rotor inside. Looks like we're at, let's see here, 8. Kind of run it through some of the lower spots, 8. So we're still good. There's still plenty of meat on them. But usually the newer vehicles, they go ahead and make them lightweight. So usually they're just typically one-time use. Again, if you definitely want to resurface these if you have the ability to, but these are not, they're not grooved as bad, or they're not even grooved at all. If you do remove the rotors, I like to mark them, either a marker or this is a tire chalk, so that you can kind of put it back in the same orientation. That way, less likely of having any warped rotors issues. What I like to do, since I'm not machining them, I like to use a 3M roll lock and basically put a non-directional finish on this, and I want to do that on both sides. Alright, you're definitely going to want to invest in one of these caliper retracting tools. This is a universal kit, so basically that piston in there needs to basically rotate as you apply pressure. And I'm kind of doing this with one hand, so bear with me here. Alright, so once you get that positioned and snug down with the adapter on the piston, you should be able to start turning, and as it turns, it'll apply pressure. So, alright, as you can see, as you turn it, it applies pressure and pushes the piston back into the caliper. You want to be careful with the seals. Make sure you don't damage them or cut them. They do sell a rebuild kit for these if necessary. Alright, next thing, it addresses the caliper bracket. You want to take a wire brush. Make sure you get rid of all the rust or any of this buildup on the hardware. They might sell the hardware kit, but again, this is fine here as long as there's not a lot of rust. You want to make sure the pads are any metal contact points, they'll be able to slide freely. Now these pins right here, I definitely want to remove or just kind of pop them out, and just make sure that you lube these up. I like to use silicone or some kind of brake ceramic type lube, and again, just kind of put it on there. Put more, but with one hand. So do that. Again, just want to make sure these are sliding in and out. Again, this will basically prevent the brake pads from seizing up, or at least getting stuck and wearing out prematurely. All right, so the caliper bolts are torqued to 81 foot-pounds, and then the bolts to the caliper are 25. Alright, for the pads, again, they just kind of slide right in. I like to put lube on the edges as far as the contact points. There's no backing shims for these from the dealership, which is odd. And then this basically a wear indicator sensor, or basically it'll start rubbing once you get down to the brake pad material. That's where you hear the brake squeal. Again, the end points, they just kind of slide right in. It didn't come with the hardware. I'm not sure if that's extra, but being a mechanic for all these years, as long as you provide, as far as lubrication here, that'll prevent vibration and brake squeal. I went ahead and lubed the actual caliper itself, not the brake pads. Just kind of move this out of the way here, show you. I'm on both sides, and again, that just kind of slides back in. Bolts go in, and again, that torque for these bolts are 25 foot-pounds. And once you do that, again, you want to torque the wheels in a star pattern so you don't warp the rotors, and make sure you torque it. I believe it's 76 foot-pounds as far as the torque specs for this Prius. Alright, as you can see, we have the non-directional finish on here. I start on the passenger rear brakes just because it's the longest as far as the brake line is concerned. If you're bleeding the brakes, this is a good start as far as the corner. When you do compress the piston, just be aware that it can push brake fluid back into the master cylinder and maybe spill. So again, just be out on that. Once you have the brakes assembled, everything's torqued, I like to go inside the vehicle and actually press the brakes until the calipers actually start compressing. And then just put everything back together, do the same on the other side. When I go for a test drive, I basically ride the brakes a little bit just to get them hot enough that if we had a backing plates on these pads, that'll help basically adhere them to the back of the pads. Unfortunately, we don't have that, but we'll be okay with the lube that we have. Hopefully this was helpful, and thank you. Watch.